Allow me to introduce our first speaker, 10th grader, talking about the phenomenon of the ant's death spiral. Please join me in welcoming Selim El-Zenni.
Know something? Every person stand on the stage, no matter what their message is, has one thing in common. They took a risk. They thought of something personal. Down. They practiced it over and over, and they came up on the stage with their heart beating out of their chest, and they said, I'm going to share my idea in a room full of people who might judge me. The idea of doing all of that is very scary. But here's what I find even scarier. Not standing in front of such a large crowd. What I find the scariest is the idea of never doing it all. Because the biggest risk in life, never taking one. You can probably guess where this is headed, so let me ask you a question. When was the last time you had try? Maybe it was a place you wanted to visit. Maybe it was a person you wanted to talk to. Maybe it was an idea you had. And what did you tell yourself? When I'm ready. When the time is right. And my personal favorite, maybe tomorrow. Sound familiar? Yeah, me too. Because not long ago, I was stuck in that exact loop. Ideas I never had. Conversations I never started. All because I told myself that I was being careful. That I was being safe. Because the truth was, I was afraid. One day my teacher signs me up for a Model United Nations conference. I didn't think much of it at first. I just told myself what I tell myself in class. Sit at the back, don't draw attention to yourself, and survive. But something happened on the way there. People started talking to me. Not just surface level small talk, no, real conversations about things I was passionate about. And before I knew it, I'd said more in 4 hours than I usually said in 4 weeks. Now, did we win the Model UN? No, and there might be a bounty on my head in Laguna. But I'm glad we didn't win. Because that first risk did the impossible. It made the next risk feel possible. A couple of months later, for the first time in my life, I decided to run for student council. Did I win? Again, no, and it was a landslide election. But, again, I'm glad I lost. Because at that moment, I realized what I'm coming to tell you all here today. Risk is a completely neutral word. There's no definitive good risk, there's no definitive bad risk. But what is constant is that every risk holds a learning experience. I didn't win that Model UN, but I learned that I could stand on the stage and speak in front of people. And all those losses are the reason I'm standing on the stage and speaking in front of all of you right now. And that isn't just my experience talking. It backs us up. The research in psychology shows that positive risk-taking in young adults can help support their developmental skills. People who try to step into unfamiliar environments and try new activities are the ones who have greater emotional resilience and better problem-solving skills. Ask any evolutionary psychologist, and they'll tell you that risk-taking is the reason our species is still alive today. The humans who explored new grounds, who tried new things, and approached strangers are the ones who survived and thrived. In other words, risk is not just something humans do. Risk is what makes us human. And yet our entire lives we're told different. We're told not to rock the boat. We're told to play it safe. We're told to associate risk with danger, with failure, with embarrassment. And yet, every major advancement in human history, from the discovery of fire to landing on the moon, happened because someone, somewhere, ignored that advice. And this is something only humans are truly wired to do. Sometimes in nature, when an ant loses its trail, it'll follow another ant, which is following another ant, which is following another ant, and they'll all form a circle where they just follow each other. The thing is, they don't realize they're in a circle. Some of them think they're moving normally. Some of them think they're making insane progress, when in reality, they're just looping. Scientists call this phenomenon the death spiral, because the ants will keep on following each other until they all die of exhaustion. Humans fall into the same patterns. We follow routines. We live up to expectations we never chose, and we tell ourselves we're moving forward, when in reality, we're just going in circles. The only way to break the loop is to step out of line. And if you look at history, all of its greatest figures were never the ones with the circle. Think of Martin Luther King Jr., a man who stood for civil rights in the face of violent segregation. He didn't keep going because the path was safe, but because staying quiet was even more dangerous. Marie Curie was the first person ever to win 2 Nobel Prizes at a time when women working in general was a controversial idea. She didn't wait for permission, she just got to work. Steve Jobs dropped out of college and pursued a vision of technology that no one thought would work. And right now, I'm willing to bet that at least half of you have an Apple product in your phones. Not me though. But the thing that most people forget is that these people didn't succeed because their path was safe. They succeeded because they kept going even though the path was terrifying. And sure, I'm not telling you to take a risk in the name of a greater cause. You don't even have to expect immediate results. Colonel Sanders, founder of KFC, had his recipe rejected over 1,000 times and was fired from 12 jobs before finally finding success at the age of 65. So, next time you think you're falling behind, maybe reconsider. And sure, weigh your options and have second thoughts. Use your brain, it's there for a reason. But don't confuse thinking with waiting forever. Because what I've learned is that the biggest risk in life is not failure. It's not embarrassment or rejection. The biggest risk in life is reaching a point where you realize that you never actually tried. You followed the circle so perfectly, you never discovered what was outside of it. All the lives you never got to live, all the chances you never took, all because you never discovered what you were truly capable of. That, to me, is the only risk not worth taking. We live in a time where it has never been easier to stay in the loop. Algorithms feed us the same content. Social norms pressure us into the same decisions. The world rewards predictability and punishes deviation. In the middle of all that chaos, it takes some real courage to say, I'm going to try something big. But here's what I believe with everything I have. There will come a time in your life, maybe right now, maybe tomorrow, maybe 10 years from now, where you have to ask yourself, have I been living or have I just been following? And in that moment, I hope you remember the answer. So, here's my challenge for you. Not tomorrow, not even today. Right now, think of something that scares you just a little and do it. It doesn't have to change your life overnight. You might fail, you might embarrass yourself, you might lose an election by a landslide. But I promise you that it'll teach you something that staying never will. So find a new path, take the risk, and whatever you do, don't become another ant in the spiral. Thank you.